Right. Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Youthphoria by MalaysiaKini. On today's episode, you have myself, Daryl, and today we have a special guest. His name is Deric. Deric, you can say hi.
Hello guys, Deric here.
So Deric is from the Hackers Collective. So as far as I understand, the Hackers Collective is basically a tech startup to help other tech startups establish their businesses. Am I right?
Yes, you are right. We on top of that, we also build we do a lot of software education where we bring people
Mhm.
together to really upskill the general Malaysian to understand more about technology and help them build businesses and profit out of it.
All right. So it's not just a business; it's basically a community, all right, of people educating one another,
It's
trying to
a
also help
hype.
grow
It
the
is a
business.
business actually. Yeah, it is
Right.
a business to be honest. Our
Okay.
revenue model, we are generating revenue and making profits based on our different initiatives. So we build businesses, and
Mm,
some of these businesses are more techy. They're more startup ish, where it
right.
requires a lot of upfront investment. So we're not making a revenue out of it. But then on top
Mm,
of that, but these are the ones that have the potential to scale and impact lives of millions of people, right? Your
yeah.
Facebook style startup, your
Yeah.
Airbnb style startups. The thing is, to start this, it requires a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of expertise. Then
Right.
on top of that, we have a ton of more cash cow businesses that are already generating revenue every single day without needing us to struggle anymore. So we are then
Mm.
financing all of these new startup ideas based off our previous our other cash cow businesses as well.
All right. That's amazing, man. All right. So before we go any further, the first question I would like to ask you is why call it the Hackers Collective? Because generally, for those of us who are not as tech educated, I'm from tech, so I know a
Oh,
little bit about all this kind of stuff. I mean, my full time job, I work with a tech company, right? So the word hacker usually has a negative connotation to it. Was there any concern when you guys were deciding, to create this startup name? How did it come about?
awesome, awesome. That's a very good question that I get all the time. In fact, every now and then, I get WhatsApp messages or random calls from people just coming to me and say, "Hey, Derek, can you hack my girlfriend's WhatsApp? I want to see her conversations." But yeah, I mean, just to quickly answer this, right? We don't hack people's PCs. We don't hack like your phone. We can't do that. When we say hack, we're primarily thinking outside of the box, challenging the status quo, doing things differently, not going with traditional norms, right? As just to quickly quote the late Steve Jobs, he says, we see ourselves as square pegs in round holes, people who just
Mm,
don't belong, right? And when we say hack, instead of thinking of that guy in a hoodie, yes, maybe I'm wearing a hoodie right now, but instead of thinking of that guy in a hoodie in a dark room trying to cause harm to other people, think more so of the Airbnb story, the Grab story, when they hacked, like
mm,
for example, Airbnb hacked the hotel industry, Grab hacked the taxi industry, right? They're doing things that's not for its intended purpose. Um,
right.
you know, for us, the way I see it, we often find that people like this are the ones who change things, not the ones who follow the
Right.
crowd and bow down to
Right.
conventional norms. But it's also this very same crowd of people who has their own ways of seeing things, and it's often very lonely when you're the only one who has this very weird, not weird, very distinct way of
Right.
um, going against traditional norms. So
Right.
what we want to is to bring a bunch of people like this, like-minded people together, and imagine the impact that we can create when we bring these kind of people
Right.
together and really make them pursue their dreams, right? And just to quickly add on to that as well, if I could give an example, um, the Wright brothers.
Yep. Yep. The
Yep,
guys who
right.
create the plane.
Yes, the guys who invented the plane. So back in the days, they had nothing. All they had was a bicycle store, and they started. They did it. They were competing against, I forgot his name, but I think it's Langley or something like that. This guy where it's your typical Ivy League guy with a shit ton of funding, a lot of investors backing him up. He's from like Ivy League from Harvard or something, right? He has a PhD. So the Wright brothers were just two guys with no uni degrees running a small little bicycle business. So how is it that these two guys with no financial backing, no one knows them, the media doesn't even care about them, right? How did these two guys win Mr. Langley over here, who obviously is like the poster child for aviation back in the days? They were competing, and the Wright brothers won. Fundamentally, it's because they hacked the system. They did not go
Right.
about thinking, oh, we need 1,000 of research before doing it. They just did it and explored along the way, and they pivoted over multiple times. And that's what really got them. So the idea of experimenting and learning from experimentations always trumps, you
Right.
sitting in a lab doing research, doing
Right.
calculations and all that. That's our
Well,
belief. Yep.
generally, that's how market disruptors are actually born lah, right? So you try to stand out of the crowd, you create something different, and then who knows what may happen the next day.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And in one of your videos, Hackers Collective videos, you guys mentioned that technology can change every few months, every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think 6 months sometimes can be, a bit ambitious. How do you suggest keeping yourself updated with technology, especially, for people who want to create businesses out of it?
In fact, in fact, I would even argue to say that it's every 3 months, right? 6 months is, in the grand scheme of things, is not a very long time, but technology changes exponentially. Every 1 month, in fact, every 1 month, we see new technologies that could replace whatever we're doing right now. Just to give you some context, the way people are doing things now, just think of building an application like Airbnb. You're probably going to need a UI UX person, you need a front end guy, you need a back end guy, you need your DevOps guys, you need your cloud IT team, right?
Yep.
So one thing about building backend system is a lot of it is automatable, and nowadays there are a lot of frameworks and tools that allows you to automate your backend development. When I say automate, no, it's not drag and drop. It's a framework that allows you to, instead of going very low level, it abstracts it to a higher level where you can, okay, in layman's terms, you can replace the job of 3 backend developers with 1 guy. You can speed up your development by 300%.
Right.
By 3 times, right? So that's that. And to answer your question, how do we keep ourselves updated with technology? The quick answer is we invest actively in R&D. So my co-founder, his name is Ming, very, very techy guy, very smart guy, right? He invests a lot of his time learning new technologies. So testing out on projects. When I say learning, it's not just taking out a book and reading. It's really actively going out to the community, talking to the founders of these new tools, these new technologies, and understanding how we can implement it in our businesses. And then taking the next step, right? To go out there to our partners, people who are paying us money, and ask them, hey, are you okay if we implement this new technology? Yes, it's new, but we give them the promise that we can deliver as well, and for a lower price. So what we say
Right.
is we take a small cut in revenue for us to explore new technologies that we can then implement and scale across multiple products, and also introduce to our students who are often looking to. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know, I run a software school as well. So we implement it to our students so that they can then use this technology to help them stand out in this very, very competitive field of technology, help them
Right.
stand out, land projects, get jobs and all that.
Right. And you guys sound like, a bunch of really passionate, intelligent people. Derek, were you from a tech background?
Oh, me myself, no. I have a
Yeah.
degree in finance.
Exactly. So you have spoken, to a few people who tangent to their degree and took a jump, to move towards tech. An example would be myself, right?
Mhm.
And you, right? So I am an engineer by profession who never became an engineer. And now I'm doing tech videos for a
Damn.
living, right? Um, what would you say people? What would you think? What would be the most common reason people, jump into tech in the future?
Well, Daryl, this is a good question that I personally touch on a lot. I spend a lot of time thinking about career and life
Yeah.
planning, personal, self development things. And this is a very, very, very way too common. I get this question all the time. So for now, we have a community of around 500 people, and I personally have interviewed over hundreds of them. Right, and it's very common. A lot of them go through this, and a lot of them face this. I myself face this. My
Wait,
peers face this as well.
you mean by
And
a community of 500 people? So that includes like your students, your clients, your
yes,
partners,
correct.
and Hackers Collective as a whole lah, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So yeah, our
cool.
students, our clients, our investors, our stakeholders, our project partners, our or people who just contribute to our events as well. So it's simple, right? It's this. We don't think enough. The fundamental promise, the primary reason to this us changing our careers, after degree is that we don't think enough. Think about it. We
Mm-hmm.
go to school, then after 5 years of your traditional national your national school curriculum, your KBSM and all that, your SPM, you get that
Yep.
done, get it sorted. All you think of is, hey, let's get straight A's, which is what I did, right? Go all out, study, and I don't think about
You and me
anything else
both.
besides studying. Exactly, right? Just study, 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 and that's it. You don't think. Okay, then let's move on. We go to pre-U, right? So you probably choose A levels or whatever, OSMET or whatever. You have to choose one. There's no other route, right? Because in the society just makes you think like if you don't choose this path, you're gonna end up doing you're gonna end up being a good for nothing, and I don't agree with that,
Right.
right? Okay, but let's move on to the topic. After that, then you spend one. So after pre U, you have a span of 1 to 2 months to pick a degree. Because if you don't, your parents will be like, wait, stop chilling. Your friends will be like, haha, you're super slow, and they're faster than you. What are you doing at home chilling? And that peer pressure causes you to pick whatever is relevant at that point in time, which could be very likely be not very, it's a decision not made, um sorry, it's a misinformed decision, right? It's how do you expect a 17-year-old high school grad to make career choices that they will end up pursuing for the next 50 years of their lives? And to add salt to this injury, right? Guess what? After spending 3 years of their life studying something you don't like, after graduation, a lot of people can't change their careers. Why? Because of the sunk cost fallacy. You heard of it, right? Sunk cost fallacy. Yep. People say things like, hey, I spent 100,000 ringgit and 3 years of my life studying this degree, and now I need to work in it, or I'll be wasting my money or wasting my parents' money. Then they just continue going this whole rabbit hole of doing another 5 more years, doing another 10 more years, and then it's going to become an order of magnitude harder for you to leave, because then you're going to be even more specialized in that field, and for you to give up this field to go into another field, it's going to be even harder, and then this whole process goes on.
Yeah, I think the whole idea about the education system, and also about the future of youth today post school, it's a whole podcast by itself.
Yes, right. I could go on all day, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, on the topic of looking back at what you used to do and stuff like that, if you were to go back in time, right, and what would you do differently in terms of what got you towards tech today?
Very good question. If I could go back in time, which means when? Back to SPM days or
school days? I'm pretty sure you probably wish that you probably learn how to do simple C++ coding in school or something like that.
But the funny thing is, back in the days, I was never the IT kid. I was that kid who always did you go to computer classes back in high school?
Yeah.
They had a crap ton of challenges. I'm always that dude who can't seem to finish it, and I have to beg my friends to let me copy his answers. I'm that guy, So
right.
So for me to be doing tech today, it's
what did we learn in school though?
We did a bunch of
Word files,
very
Excel,
basic scripting. Yeah, scripting, like just copy pasting code. But like I struggled even after copy pasting. I didn't even know how to run the code. I was like, what the hell is this, right? I told myself at that point I'm not going to do IT, right? But I guess it's funny how okay. But back to the question, right? If I could go back in time, let's say SPM time, I would still go all out to study for my SPM, because there's no other way around it. Because SPM, you have to do well, and like my parents are your typical tiger Asian parents, right? So I had to do well. After SPM, I think one big thing that I'll do differently is I might even just skip this whole. I did OSMED myself, and I went into a degree in finance. So I think fundamentally I would have taken the money, because I studied in UK, which is a bit more expensive as well. But let's just not use UK as an example, because it's a bit more expensive. Let's say we go to a local university, you spend around 100,000 ringgit for it. You will spend 3 years of your life that you could have been making money, so you have to factor in the opportunity cost over here, right? That you could have been making, let's say, just go and do a decent junior level job, could have making 2,000-3,000 ringgit every month, and then also let's take away your living expenses and all that, right? So all this money, let's just add it up to around 100 to 200,000 ringgit. I could have been investing in something else, like building a business or upskilling myself in the exact skill set that I want to master in. Instead of going and I did my degree in finance, I ended up studying like a lot of like weird stuff, like I don't know, sociology or like English literature, right? Like the sub modules that they just make you take, and obviously the MPU and all that, the Malaysian studies kind of stuff. Like it's irrelevant in terms of the degree. I paid money to get a job. So why am I learning all this stuff, right? That's my thoughts when it comes to this. So I probably to sum my answer short, I would probably take the money and do something else with it. That's the main reason that I wouldn't have went to uni.
So less vanilla lifestyle, higher education, more upskilling, like proper hard skill that actually help you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. On the topic of coding, right? Yes. So you spoke that back in school, even the simplest hello world code was a challenge. That was me in my early years in college too. I mean, not that I know how to code, but like we were forced to do it. I remember the first language I learned was Pascal.
Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah, and in a pool of so many skills that you can pick up, coming from a co-founder of a tech startup point of view, why is coding so important today?
Okay. So fundamentally, when I was in venture capital. Are you familiar with VC?
Yep. Right.
Yes, I was in venture capital for a bit, and
Maybe Derek, you just explain, for the benefit of our listeners,
oh, cool, yeah, no
what
props.
venture capital is about. Yeah.
So think of Facebook back in the days when Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook in his dorm room, right? He probably had to pay for servers, paid for design, paid for marketing, paid for tech, right? But I mean, well, fortunately, he is a talented kid who's able to do everything, right? But imagine someone who's trying to start a business without having all these skill sets. They need to have the funding to go market, to go for press, to use, pay for ads and all that stuff. They need the funding. Who's gonna fund this? Are you gonna go to the banks? They're not going to give it to you, right? You're a 21 guy with no backing, no job, nothing. They're not going to give the money to you. Are you going to go to your parents? Well, not everyone has rich parents, right? Some people can go to a loan shark, which I obviously wouldn't suggest that. But where do people go to then to get their first batch of money to invest? They will go to venture capitalists or angel investors. So VCs are the guys who invest in startups at a very early stage. Why? And if you ask me why do they do that? Well, would you want my question for you is, would you want to have a small pie in Facebook today, or would you have invested in Facebook when it was 10, 20, 30 years ago? Sorry,
Of course,
10 years ago,
yeah.
right? Obviously back then, right? So that's what the VCs want. They want to get their money back 10 times, 20 times, instead of things like 8% per year, like what the market is giving us currently if you invest in ETFs. So back to the question, right? Why coding? Fundamentally, when I left my VC job, I asked myself, what is the skill set I wanted to learn? And I chose coding. Why? Because I asked myself, what is the one skill set that allows me that with my two hands, I can build anything in the world and impact millions or even billions of lives. And the only thing that I can think of is really technology, because I'm not the kind of guy who's like a YouTuber kind of guy who can go out there and talk and sell my face, that kind of stuff. I'm more of the guy I prefer to build something solid and then
Right.
use that product itself to scale infinitely with or without me in there. Right? That's my idea. So that's why I just went straight in to learn coding. And you look at the trend in today's world, right? Technology is changing exponentially. More and more jobs are getting replaced by technology, and the sole fact that you can build literally anything in the world, that this sole fact is big enough of a reason for me to go straight into it. But just to add on, right, Daryl, I don't stop at coding. Coding is really just a means to an end for me. For me, I would take the effort to learn whatever it takes to help me build businesses. My fundamental end goal is to build businesses, and if coding is what I need to learn, I'll learn it. If marketing is what it takes, I'll do it. Right? Pitching, design, marketing, everything. I've dabbled my hands in all of it as well. Yeah.
Right. On the topic of VCs, is that how
Yes.
Hackers Collective started?
No, no. We didn't take a single cent from an external party. We started a business with 5 to 1,000 ringgit, and we snowballed it
scratch.
from there. Yes, from scratch, completely from scratch.
Beautiful.
No loans, nothing. But we're not even fundraising today. We have investors coming to us saying that, hey, I like what you're doing. Your business model is great. They want to invest, but we say we are not fundraising right now. But very soon we might be. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Looking forward to that. And like you said, you came from a completely different background. What does it actually take to be an industry standard programmer, coder, whatever developer it may be, like yourself?
I think at the end of the day, it's not the certifications that you have, it's not the uni degrees that you have. It's more so the ability to sit down there and focus and solve problems. That's all it is, right? Today, if whatever skills you want to learn, you can learn on Udemy, you can learn on YouTube. Like yourself, right? You probably self-taught yourself a lot of skills, and I'm sure you can relate to that as well. So I think the ability to sit down and stay committed, like going to the gym. Everyone knows that going to the gym is healthy. Going to the gym can make you get buff. Going to the gym can make you more attractive and more healthy and all that stuff, right? But people still fail to consistently go every single day. Why? Because they are lacking that accountability factor. They're lacking that commitment to it. Same thing when it comes to coding. If you don't have the commitment, you will not succeed. That's it.
Right.
If you're committed, you can sit down 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day to learn and to code, to solve problems. You will be a good coder, regardless of where you start today, even if you're starting completely from zero.
Yeah. Actually, this actually reminds me of back in the day when I tried really, really hard to switch over to media because that's where I actually love it.
How long do you take, Daryl, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I graduated in 2017. I had maybe about a year in between doing other stuff, and then I was lucky enough. I managed to get my first job in radio in 2018.
Oh, okay. So you spent
late
what, 1 year?
about 1 year,
Upskilling.
upskilling, and just trying my luck, building a portfolio from nothing. Because you
Yes.
want to do anything in media, you need a portfolio. You want to write, you need to have copies that you have written before. You want to make videos, you got to have a portfolio of videos, and
Exactly.
and 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 things like that. And coming from an engineering graduate who's not done much of all this kind of stuff, it's pretty difficult. And you want to move to different fields and all. You got to start from scratch. So I was lucky, I was given a chance to join radio, with very limited technical skills. So what they wanted was a producer who can curate content, who can do this kind of stuff. Lucky for me, I listened to radio a lot lah, right? And the station which I applied for was the station which I listened to every day. So I knew a lot of stuff that they do, and I knew sort of the content that they would like. And I was lucky I got that opportunity. So that was basically my transition into the media world. And then from there, I learned how to edit audio, and then started podcasting, and then
Very nice.
eventually ventured to digital media, do videos, live streams. And then every year you'll never know what you might pick up lah, right? So it's
Yes.
I think same thing goes to coding, same thing goes to any industry out there. If you just put time and effort into it, you can always make it lah.
Exactly. 100%.
All right. So on the topic of the tech scene,
Mm.
when we think of tech, we think about all these big time superstars. Like, you think of Facebook, you think of Amazon, and all these founders, Zuckerberg, Bezos, all dudes, right? You watch Wolf of Wall Street, all dudes, right? Is it true that the industry, worldwide, the tech industry, here, you've worked with so many people in the tech scene, people, as aspiring, developers and all, why are they mostly male, or is it even true?
It's definitely very true. We ran many classes, many batches of education. We ran a lot of community events, and
Mm,
whenever it comes to things like coding, it's
mm,
always guys. Like, I would say the average number is like 70-80% guys, and you always have that 2 or 3 girls there who are like super semangat. But it's changing very fast nowadays. You see a
mm.
lot of YouTubers, you see a lot of people out there, because the appeal of coding is you get to work from home. You get to work wherever you
Anywhere you
want,
want.
and that's the perfect job for a female, right? Don't talk about Western world. Talk about even in the context of an Asian industry. Sorry, the Asian markets, where it's traditionally believed that women should stay at home and cook and all that. So even when you say, oh, that when this female says that they want to go out there to I don't know, do a job that requires them to always be outside of the home, usually it's quite going against traditional norms. But when it comes to coding, you can still live within that norm. You don't have to challenge the system, you don't have to like offend anyone. But I
Mm,
think one thing that so that helped onboarding females to come into tech scene. But I think another thing is, when you think of tech, you still think of engineering, which kind of puts girls away because it's more boring, more numbers ish. But if, in fact, now more and more
correct.
girls are coming to tech. And when you say tech, it's not just coding lah, right? You have project management, you have product management, you have the UI UX design, you have marketing, right? These are all parts of technology as well. So I think definitely male dominated, definitely 100%, but it's getting a lot better, and I'm very happy to see that.
Amazing stuff. So, ladies out there, if you guys want to join, if you not guys, if you if you want to join the tech industry, the opportunity is huge, right? So we spoke a little bit, not a little bit. We spoke quite a lot on the opportunities that you guys have at in the tech industry. But of course, with every business venture, not
Mm.
just tech business ventures, I'm pretty sure there are tons of risks that come with it, right? So and for you, co-founding the Hackers Collective, can you share with us some of the risks that you have observed so far? For people who want to create startups, we can talk about startups in the tech industry or startups in general, lah, right? So not many people around us, around here, have the opportunity to come up with something like you did. What would you say are the things we should watch out for?
I think my business model is a little bit different, whereby I'm not fully a tech startup. I'm a business that builds tech startups, and I'm more of a venture builder, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we hedge our risks by doing businesses that are not as risky. Think about it, right?
Mm.
let's say if you were to start a mamak store in KL Central, you know for sure that it won't die because fundamentally the laws of physics tells you that a lot of people goes about there. You need cheap food over there, and that's all there is, right? Starting a mamak over there. But if you think of starting Airbnb back in the days, you need to challenge the norm where, hey, I need to let a stranger live in my house. You need to prove the assumption that this is right. People are okay with strangers staying in their house, and people are okay with staying in a stranger's house. You need to prove this assumption. But when it comes to starting a mamak, there's no assumptions to be proved. You know what I'm saying? So you if you want to fund something like Airbnb, you need money to go and prove the idea is valid. So, and where do you get this money from? You need to get it from investors or whatever, like I mentioned just now. But if you had a business like a mamak generating cash flow, what's stopping you starting 10 other businesses that are less risky like this, generating more and more cash flow to support the risky ventures that could potentially scale infinitely, right? So that's one angle where we reduce our, like you mentioned just now, right? There's no tech startup that is zero risk, but we always try to reduce the risk and make estimated guesses lah. So if you ask me back to the topic, what are some risks that I've observed so far? I would say if cash flow, as I mentioned just now, cash flow is important. Number 2 is building the right team. That's it. You cannot build anything without a right team, and we're fortunate enough to have a very good team. And on top of team, we have a community as well, who's like very supportive of our mission and our vision, who will support us whenever we need help. So I would say cash flow is number 1. Always need cash flow. If you don't have any cash flow, you there's no business over here, right? Because if you don't have cash flow, you have to end up constantly chasing investors. Once you finish, let's say the investor say, oh, I like your idea, let me give you 100,000. 100,000, right? If you have a team of 10 people, it won't last you more than 3 or 4 months. Then you have to go on to the next investor, which is very, very hard. Imagine if I today, I spend all of my time chasing investors, I have no time to build the business. The business will not grow. So we need to think of a way to generate constant cash flow for the business. And then with this cash flow, we can then hire the right people, find the right co-founders as well, right? Sustain long enough to find the right co-founder. Like me and my co-founder as well, we worked on this for the past 1.5 years. He's focusing primarily, even though, yes, we do everything. I do help out with the tech. He helps out with the business, but he is primarily focused more on the tech side of things, and I can fully hands it off to him and trust him with it. And he can trust me with the business side of things. So finding the right people, finding the right team is essential to growing and scaling a company.
Right. I'm going to go slightly off tangent here, right? So the tech industry in Malaysia is growing, right?
Yes.
In fact, everywhere it's growing really rapidly. And being in a tech company myself, I can see how competitive it can get, right? So what would you say the challenges are, right? When it comes to sustaining a business model like yours?
Back in the days, I used to do everything myself. So it was just me going out there doing the marketing, doing the design, doing the business development, doing the tech. I was doing literally everything myself. And over time, you know that it's not possible to build a company like that. I only have 24 hours. I only have one brain. So the way we do it is we need to find people who are able to complement your skill sets. I'm willing to bet for every skill that I have today, I can find people who are better than me in all of it. Right. So the challenges here is to find people who are willing to believe in your vision. Number 1, it's very hard, right? Because I can't go around selling a dream and say, hi, join us, haha, I'm not going to pay you a salary. We can't do that. We still have to pay people a salary on top of giving them the idea, giving them the belief that they're working on something bigger than themselves. They're not just working on a job. They're helping Malaysia grow the tech industry, right? They're not just working on a job. They're helping startup founders scale a business. So it's a very different idea, and the ability to sell this idea to your team is very important, because if they don't know that they're part of something bigger, they won't feel intrinsically motivated to it. Right. So that's one challenge, motivating the team. Number 2, building processes and frameworks. One thing I realized is if there's no framework, no processes in building a business, there's this book by Ray Dalio called Principles. If you read it, very good book. You should check it out. It talks about building principles, the principles that we want to stay true to. That because we know today everyone has their own opinions. If we bring on board someone who worked 3 years in another company, someone who worked 5 years in, someone who worked 3 years in a, exactly. Everyone has different values. So how do we bring everyone across to agree on our value, and how can we convince them that our value is good, and how can we also build a process where we can give them enough autonomy where they don't have to go through 5 layers of approvals. So this building processes and building frameworks is also very important. So I
Right.
think yeah,
So,
that's it.
so from what I get from you, it's not just, being in the tech industry is not just how much you know and what you can do. It's a lot of leadership that comes along with it
Yes.
as well, which I think,
Mm,
people talk about it a lot. It's a very, very cheesy word, but I think it's, it's a problem which a lot of people face all the time too. Be in the tech industry or whatever job that you got, everyone has issues with management, right? So I think, that's one thing which, being a very young crowd, it is something which you can do to face the industry around us, lah, right?
mm,
Okay, so when you co-founded the Hackers
mm.
Collective, was how was it like for you? Was it something you guys tried out and that it really worked out, or it's something which you guys knew that it was going to be the future? And at that point in time, coming up with something like this, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys are really young guys, and all within 20s, I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
What was the idea when you guys came up with this?
Um, Obviously we didn't know if things were gonna work out because
Right.
if anyone knew something for certain is gonna work out, they would have been invested. They would have invested fully into it. Everyone would have
Okay.
been doing it already, right? So there, of
Mm-mm-mm.
course, obviously, right, we knew there was a huge chance it wasn't even gonna work out. But
Right.
back in the, I can just share with you if you don't mind my thought process in terms of me
Mm.
making the decision to leave my VC role to go into tech. My thought process was very simple. It's just one thing only. When I drove right into it, right, I thought of the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, it fails, it burns, and nothing happens. Fine, I wasted a few months of my life, but I would have gained an awesome skill set that I can make bank
Learn so
with. And
much.
this skill set is like, yeah, learning, project management, and back in the days, when we first started, like I mentioned, right, in the first year we didn't grow that much, really because I was also focusing on a lot of my time on learning to code, learning marketing and all that. So I knew even if it failed, I could get a good job somewhere. I knew for sure,
Mm-mm-mm.
guaranteed, right? But again, the idea of having a plan where when things don't work out is that um, when you have the plan, when you have the mindset that you will fail. Right? Starting a
Mm.
business is easy. It's very easy to start a business. I go to SSM, do a Facebook page, do a website. Damn easy. But to keep it alive and to grow it, it's tough. And the hardest part, right, is not starting it. The hardest part is staying motivated and committed enough to see through it when things are tough. That's when your worth
Mm.
as an entrepreneur, right, is put to a test, right? Do you back out and get a job somewhere for the sake of security? I met quite a few of my friends. They said, "Oh, Derek, you're doing business. That's really cool. I want to do business." So I was like, "Go, go, go!" I supported them. 3 months in, "Oh, Derek, this is tough. I'm gonna give up." I found a
Go
job
back to
paying me.
corporate.
Yes, paying me. This job is paying me 5,000-6,000 ringgit. I cannot say no. Well, you make your choice. Right? At the end of the day, you have to make a decision.
Mm.
Do you want to give it up for the sake of security? It's fine. Not wrong also, right? Do you want to take
Yeah.
up a loan? Right? Do you want to go and learn to pitch investors? Do you find a way to bootstrap and fund your business? What do you do, right? As an entrepreneur when things are tough? That's the question. And
Mm.
the when it comes to um this, right? If I don't go ham in whatever I'm doing, because back in the first year, as I mentioned, I spent 1 year, the first year, we didn't grow as fast because I was learning to code. And now I stopped doing that. Now I just literally go ham in everything I do. I just go all out without thinking of the backup plan of getting a job because that really helped back our growth as a company. So today I'm
Right.
just
Okay.
doing whatever it takes to bring us to the next stage. And I just
Mm.
forgive I just forego that backup plan. I just completely forgo it because foregoing it give me an extra 3, 4, 5 hours every single day to build a business, and that's all I care about right now.
Nice. And I have one last question for you. For those,
Sure.
intending to build a startup, a tech startup, what would be your first advice? Of course, I mean,
Oh
aside
yeah.
from approaching you guys, lah.
Yeah. So obviously approaches that's like Adara mentioned. But well, if you don't want to approach us and you prefer to go for it, right? But
Mm.
only if you're ready. If you're gonna, so I met a lot of people who when they say go for it, then they'll start asking more opinions, and people say, oh no lah, it's risky, don't do this, don't do that. If you are going to shake and you're going to give up just because things are tough, then don't go for it. But if you know and you have maybe enough cash in the bank, or if you know for sure 100% that you were going to do this, you're ready to burn for the next not 1-2 months, for the next 2 to 3 years. If you're ready to
Mm.
burn in the next 2 to 3 years, go for it because you learn so much from it. You make so many new connections, and
Mm.
you just grow as a person, right?
Mm.
So the question is, can you survive and thrive for that long? Where is your cash flow coming from? You need these questions answered. Where is your cash
Mm.
flow coming from? Do you have the required skill set? Because let's say you want to start a tech startup, you don't only need to know tech. You need to know
Mm.
marketing, design, HR, how to file your taxes, accounting, business development, how to scale to other markets, how to do design. You need to know everything, just a little bit of everything, right?
Mm.
So if you don't know, then fine. Do you have the ability to find people who can rally around your idea?
Right.
So it's all about fitting the holes wherever you see.
Right.
It's all about finding people who are able to
Right.
complement you in wherever you're lacking. If you have the
Right.
ability, you have the funds, yeah, or even if you don't have funds, you have the idea on where you can get the funds. Go for it. Just
Mm.
think of it: 2 to 3 years, no salary. Are you okay with it? If you're okay with it, go for it. That's it.
Damn.
So yeah.
All right. So if you want to get in touch with you guys, how do we do it?
Oh, easy. I could drop my phone number here. I'm very close to my virtual market. But you go to our website. Just do a quick sign up over there. If you want to learn coding, we have a page for coding. You want to do ventures, we have a page over there. And also, we're starting a very new fundraising arm where we're talking to a lot of investors who are very interested in the startup ideas that we always get. If you want to raise funding, 50,000 to 100,000 ringgit, come to us as well. We can always chat and have a pitch.
All right. How about your social media handles? Not, I mean, yours if you want to give, but like,
Yeah.
but the Hacker Collective.
Hacker Collective is at the Hacker Collective on Instagram, and Facebook is just the Hacker Collective. LinkedIn is just the Hacker Collective. That's it.
Nice. All right. So if you guys want to build a tech startup, you guys now know where to go, right? So thank you so much, Deric, for joining us on today's episode. Do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you so much, Daryl. Appreciate this session, and I hope I love what you guys are doing at Youthphoria. Hope you do more of it, and I'm looking forward to more great stuff with you guys.
All right. So we certainly hope we, out of this podcast, you can have more students, right? More tech startups going to you guys. We really hope it'll help your business, and we really wish you guys all the very best, right?
Appreciate it. Thank you, Daryl.
All right. So if you guys want to check out our past episodes, you can always check us out on Spotify at Youthphoria by MalaysiaKini. If you guys want to check out our social media posts and get post and updated on what happened in the previous episodes, what's going to happen in the future episodes, you can always find us on Instagram and Facebook at Youthphoria MK. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you on the very next episode. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.